First one. Which of the following is the most important cause for animals and plants being driven to extinction? So what you should remember is HOAC. H is for habitat loss and fragmentation. And that is the most important cause. So first option is the right answer. Sobriquet means the nickname. The nickname of four major causes is evil quartet. First one is habitat loss and fragmentation. If habitat is lost, so obviously all those species that are dependent on this habitat will also be lost. The example given in NCERT is tropical rainforest. From 14%, it came down to 6%. Amazon rainforests are also destroyed fast. These are called lungs of the planet. And why are these destroyed? In order to cultivate soya beans or convert the forest into grasslands for raising beef cattle. Second cause is overexploitation, when need turns to greed. These are the two examples of species extinct in last 500 years. Steller's sea cow and passenger pigeon. Third point is alien species invasion. When alien species become invasive, they cause decline of indigenous species. These are certain examples of alien species and the affected species, indigenous species. This example is mentioned in sexual reproduction in plants also. Parthenium, carrot grass, which was a contaminant in wheat. It causes pollen allergy in humans. For this topic, you need to remember two examples, host fish species and parasite. If this is lost, the parasites are also lost, co-extinction of both. Another example is plant and pollinator. Which one of the following is not a method of in situ conservation of biodiversity? Biosphere reserve is in situ, wildlife sanctuary in situ, botanical garden is ex situ. So we have the answer. Option 3. In order to attempt this question easily, please by heart this classification, in situ and ex situ conservation. 4 examples here and 5 examples here. And in addition, please by heart these numbers also. Okay, so Biosphere Reserve, National Park, Wildlife Sanctuary and Sacred Grove, they all come under in situ conservation. In situ conservation is on-site conservation. The whole biodiversity is preserved in their natural state. Ex situ conservation is out of their natural habitat. They are taken in special settings and given special care. So location of sacred groves is also very important for exam point of view. So test yourself in this case. Khasi and Jaintia Hills, where are they present? Meghalaya. Then Aravalli Hills in Rajasthan. Western Ghat regions in Maharashtra and Karnataka. Sarguja Chanda Bastar areas, these are located in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Sacred groves are refuge for large number of rare and threatened plants. Match question. Symbiotic association of fungi with plant roots. The example is Pinus, gymnosperms, plant kingdom. So D1, this is the only option with D1 combination. This is the answer. Decomposition of dead organic material. This is saprophyte. Living on living plants or animals, parasite, B3. And last one, lichens are symbiotic association of algae and fungi. So see, this is the reference. Roots in some genera have fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza, Pinus. And cycas, they have nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. These are called coralloid roots. We will continue from here. The process of growth is maximum during, it will be maximum during log phase, and this is the reason log phase is called exponential phase. In relation to gross primary productivity and net primary productivity of an ecosystem, which one of the following statement is correct? Gross primary productivity and net primary productivity are one and same. GPP minus R, which is respiratory losses, is NPP. So they cannot be same. This is wrong statement. There is no relation between GPP and NPP. Again wrong. GPP is always less than NPP. Wrong. So the last statement has to be the correct statement and therefore the answer of this question. GPP is always more than NPP. Correct. According to Robert May, the global species diversity is about. This is straightforward question. It is 7 million. This is the answer, option 2. Match question. Trophic level and the names of organisms. So this will be, grass will be the first one. C4. Option 3 is the only one with C4 combinations. This is the answer. So this food chain is grass, then rabbit, then crow, and finally vulture. So second trophic level will be rabbit, B3, then crow will be third, D1, yes, D1, and vulture will be fourth, A2. Which of the following regions of the globe exhibits highest species diversity? Himalayas and Western Ghats of India both are given as biodiversity hotspots, but you cannot have both of them as answer. So you will have to choose Amazon forest. Which of the following is not an attribute of a population? Mortality is death rate, natality is birth rate. So 1, 3 and 4, all three are attributes of population. This is the odd one, so this is the answer. We will continue from here. Which of the following statement is not correct? So one by one, let's go through each and every statement. Pyramid of number in grassland, it looks like this. See, grass is infinite, so the number of grass will be huge. So that's why you will have a broad base here. This represents primary producer, then primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. And therefore, pyramid of numbers in a grassland ecosystem is always upright. Next one, pyramid of biomass in sea is generally inverted. See, this will be inverted. The reason is phytoplankton, their biomass is low. Then zooplankton is more than phytoplankton, and then we have fishes, and at the top level we have sharks, whales. So biomass of sharks and whales is massive. So pyramid of biomass in sea is inverted. And the last statement, pyramid of energy is always upright. Yes, it has to be upright because it follows 10% law of energy transfer. So primary producers fix 1% of energy from sunlight, and then it is transferred to the subsequent trophic level at the rate of 10%. Okay, so 10,000 becomes 1,000, 1,000 becomes 100, and 100 becomes 10. It decreases as we go up the trophic level. This will be upright. So option 3 is the only statement which is incorrect, and therefore answer of this question. This is simple equation. In the equation, GPP minus R is NPP. R represents respiratory losses. Respiration losses. In spite of interspecific competition in nature, which mechanism the competing species might have evolved for their survival? So let's go through each and every option first. First one, predation. Predation, one is harmed, the other one is benefited. So survival of both is not possible. So these are some of the examples given in NCERT. You should by heart. Cactus is the prey, predator is moth. Aquatic snails, the predator is starfish, Pisaster. And for pest, we have biocontrol agent. Example is fungus trichoderma and baculoviruses. Second one, resource partitioning. Here the example is warblers. These are songbirds and they have evolved a system to coexist by changing their behavior in their foraging activities. Foraging is search of food. So this particular observation was done by MacArthur. Now important point to notice here is both Darwin and Gauss, They both believed in the fact that there is always competition and the competitively inferior species will always be eventually eliminated from the system. But this example of warbler is an excellent example that the species learn to partition the resource and change their behavior in order to coexist. So resource partitioning is the actual answer of this question. Let's check other option also. Competitive release. The example is Cornell's experiment in which superior barnacle Balanus, okay, it eliminated the smaller barnacle Cathamalus. And last one, mutualism. In mutualism also, the two species, they evolve for the survival, but important point to note is they are not competing. They both get benefited. These are the important examples: lichens, mycorrhiza, and pollination related fig and wasp relation. So coming back to this question, in spite of interspecific competition in nature, which mechanism the competing species might have evolved for their survival? Answer is resource partitioning. Amensalism can be represented as: amensalism is species interaction in which one is harmed and other is unaffected. So it will be option number 2. So please test yourself. What is this one in which both are benefited? It is mutualism. Then both are harmed is competition. Then one is benefited, other is harmed. This is predation or parasitism. Predation, parasitism. Then one is benefited, other is unaffected. This is commensalism. One is harmed, other is unaffected is amensalism. So one of the example of amensalism will be Penicillium fungi producing penicillin. So penicillium is unaffected by penicillin, but Staphylococcus gets harmed. Match question. Okay, different types of adaptation and examples of animals. So one by one we will go through this before attempting the question. So first one, Allen's rule. It matches with polar seal. So what is the rule? The rule says mammals from colder climates generally have shorter ears and limbs, and this adaptation helps them to minimize heat loss. Next one, physiological adaptation matches with kangaroo rat. Now physiologically, this rat will be able to save water, and two different mechanisms are: it will generate water by internal fat oxidation, and second mechanism of saving water is producing highly concentrated urine. Then third one, behavioral adaptation in desert lizard. Now lizards, we have learned that they are reptiles, they cannot control internal body temperature, they are poikilotherms. So what they can change is their behavior. So by changing behavior means it will avoid direct exposure to sunlight, which can heat up their body and increase internal body temperature. Last one, marine fishes at depth, and the adaptation is biochemical adaptation. What is the meaning of this? See, at depth there is lot of pressure, okay, and under pressure protein molecules which form the enzymes, they can get denatured. So biochemically, the protein and enzymes have evolved in such a way that it can tolerate that high pressure and work at optimal enzyme activity. Right answer is option number 4. In the exponential growth equation, E is the base of natural logarithm. This is the answer. Please make a note of all equations and by heart everything which the equation denotes. Okay. Statement 1 says decomposition is a process in which the detritus is degraded into simpler substances by microbes. Correct. Second statement says decomposition is faster if the detritus is rich in lignin and chitin. This is wrong. Statement 1 is correct, 2 is incorrect. So let's revise this topic of decomposition. Decomposition has 5 different steps. Fragmentation, as the name suggests, big chunks are broken down into fragments. The key player is earthworm. It is also called farmer's friend. Okay, and it comes in the category of detritivores. What is detritus? It is the dead remains of either plant or animal. There was one question designed on this also. So you should be absolutely clear what is detritus. Okay, so bark, flower, leaves, anything which is shed off from plant becomes the detritus. Animal, the whole animal body or the fecal matter, that constitute detritus. In this question, the decomposition rate was asked. What makes the decomposition rate faster? So decomposition rate, it becomes faster if the detritus is rich in nitrogen and water soluble substances like sugars. It also becomes faster if the conditions are warm, moist and oxygen rich. And what slows down? The lignin and chitin presence in detritus, it slows down. And also cold and dry conditions and anaerobic conditions, it slows down decomposition rate. So second point in decomposition is leaching. Water soluble inorganic nutrients, they go down into the soil and gets precipitated as unavailable salts. Third aspect of decomposition is catabolism. So actual decomposition, metabolic decomposition begins here. Bacteria and fungi, they degrade detritus into simple inorganic substances. Fourth aspect of decomposition is humification, formation of humus. Humus is dark colored amorphous colloidal substance. It is highly resistant to microbial action, slowly degrades, but it eventually degrades, and that process is called mineralization. Humus is finally degraded and the inorganic nutrients are released. If a Drosophila in lab population of 80 died during a week, the death rate in the population is dash individuals per Drosophila per week. The number of death, okay, which is 8 divided by the total population is 80. So this is simple maths. If you do the calculation, this will be 1 by 10, which is equal to 0.1. So the answer will be 0.1. Check the options. Option 1 is the right answer. Next question. Which of the following is not a method of ex situ conservation? You need to identify the in situ conservation. So out of these, only national park is in situ conservation. This is the answer. Next question. Habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation, alien species invasion, and co-extinction are causes for biodiversity loss. Option 3. Next question. See, it looks worded, it looks scary, but it is actually very simple question. While explaining interspecies interaction of population, plus sign is assigned for beneficial interaction, minus sign is assigned for detrimental interaction. Yes, we know this. 0 is for neutral interaction. Which of the following interaction can be assigned for plus for one species and minus for another? Plus and minus is in case of predation and parasitism. First option is the right answer of this question. Okay, again you can test yourself. Amensalism will be minus for one species, unaffected for the other species. Commensalism plus for one species, unaffected for the other. And competition, both are harmed, negative for both. Next one. In situ conservation refers to protect and conserve the whole ecosystem. Yes, correct. Yes, we have the answer. Conserve only high-risk species, conserve only endangered species, conserve only extinct species. No, in situ means on-site, so we protect and conserve whole ecosystem. Option 1 is the answer. Detritivores break down detritus into small particles. This process is called fragmentation. Earthworm is involved in this. Option 2 is the answer. The Earth Summit was held in Rio de Janeiro in the year. This was in the year 1992. 1992 is for Earth Summit and 2002 is for World Summit. This 92 meeting was in Rio de Janeiro. 2002 was in Johannesburg, South Africa. Among the evil quartet, which one is considered the most important cause driving extinction of species? Most important is habitat loss and fragmentation. Option 3 is the answer. Multiple statement. Identify the correct statement. Detritivores perform fragmentation. Correct. A is correct. So wherever you see A, that will be the answer. Strike out other ones. This will be wrong. This will be wrong. Now we have A, B, C and D, E, A. So any one statement will help you arrive at the answer. Check for the statement which is shortest. D is shortest. The detritus food chain begins with living organism. No. Detritus, the meaning of detritus is dead material. So it cannot begin with living organism. D is wrong. Option 3 is the right answer. Gauss's competition exclusion principle states that two closely related species competing for the same resource cannot coexist indefinitely and competitively inferior one will be eliminated eventually. Correct. Everything in this statement is correct. In general, carnivores are more adversely affected by competition than herbivore. This statement is exactly picked from NCERT and the statement is herbivores are more adversely affected. So this statement is incorrect. 1 is correct. Option 1 is the answer. Next one. Interaction and species. Mutualism, both are benefited. A will be 4. A4 is in 1, 3, 4. Then we have B will be either 3, 2 or 1. Commensalism, one is benefited, other is unaffected. Where do you see this? It is over here. B1. B1 is in 2 and 4. Now we have C either 4 or 2. C will be 2. Option 4 is the answer. Leopard and lion, they are carnivores, they compete. So this will be competition. A1. A1 is in 3 and 4. Then B is common, 2. C will be either 3 or 4. C is fungi and root of higher plants in mycorrhiza. This is mutualism. C will be 3, so option 3 is the right answer. Next one. A cattle egret and a cattle in a field. This is an example of commensalism. Egret is benefited, cattle is unaffected. Match question. Unlimited resource is a hypothetical situation and it matches with exponential growth. B1 is only in option number 3. First one, keep this in mind that in nature the resources are not unlimited. Exponential growth is not possible in reality. Logistic growth, on the other hand, is represented by this parameter which is called nature's carrying capacity. So we have enough resources in a given habitat which can support maximum growth, and beyond that the growth plateaus. It doesn't grow any further. So see, this is realistic growth. It increases because there are enough resources, but then after that, when the resources starts depleting, the growth also becomes stationary. This is called asymptote. And this growth curve is called Wurlhurst-Pearl logistic growth, or you can simply call it logistic growth. This is S-shaped, represented by this formula. On the other hand, we have this growth which is J-shaped. This is called exponential growth. It keeps on increasing, represented by this equation, and the same equation can be represented in integral form this way. These are few numbers related to intrinsic rate of natural increase. For human population, R value is 0.0205. The current value of R for human population is 0.0196. So how do you calculate R? You just need two values, B and D. If birth rate is given 20 individuals per 1000 and death rate is 5 individuals per 1000, birth rate will be 20 divided by 1000, death rate will be 5 divided by 1000, and all you have to do is subtract death rate from birth rate. So this gives you R value. Now coming to age pyramid. So it looks something like this. There are 3 different levels. This is pre-reproductive age, this is reproductive age, and this is post-reproductive age. So if a lot of children are being born, the pre-reproductive age will be broader and such population is expanding. In stable population, pre-reproductive and reproductive, they both match, okay, they are almost the same. And in declining, pre-reproductive age is less than reproductive age. Now we will start 2024 paper. First question. These are regarded as major causes of biodiversity loss. Mutation and migration, they are not causes of biodiversity loss. So look for ABD. ABD is in option number 4. Next question is on tropical region versus temperate region. So before attempting this question, I just want to discuss the concept. So our Earth is slightly tilted. Despite this tilt, the tropical region, it receives sunlight throughout the year. So the constancy of sunlight favors diversity in flora. This in turn favors diversity in the animals, the fauna of this region. It also favors high productivity. So see, constancy helps in niche specialization and species diversification. On the other hand, the temperate region, there the environment is seasonal. They are subject to glaciation also. So with this background, now let's attempt the question. Tropical regions show greatest level of species richness because tropical latitudes have remained relatively undisturbed for millions of years, hence more time was available for species diversification. Everything is correct in this statement. A is correct. A is everywhere. Then B, tropical environments are more seasonal. This is incorrect. Temperate environments are seasonal. B is incorrect. So B is not in option 1. It is in every other option. So we have the answer. Option 1 is the correct answer. C is more solar energy is available in tropics. Correct. Constant environments promote niche specialization. Correct. Tropical environments are constant and predictable. Now we will continue 2024. Equation of Verhulst-Pearl logistic growth is this. From this equation, K indicates carrying capacity. So it differs from species to species. So option 3 is the answer. List of endangered species was released by. The answer is IUCN. It stands for International Union for Conservation of Nature. Next one, the type of conservation in which the threatened species are taken out from their natural habitat and placed in special setting where they can be protected and given special care is called ex situ conservation. Ex situ is not in the option, so we will go with biodiversity conservation. Because biodiversity includes in situ and ex situ. So this description, although this is for ex situ, it is applicable for biodiversity conservation as well. This is all about different scientists. First one, Robert May. Robert May, he gave an estimate of global species diversity, which was about 7 million. A will match with 3. A3 is in 2 and 4. Next, B will be either 1 or 4. B is Humboldt. Humboldt is related with the concept of species area relationship. So B is 1. So this is the NCERT reference. So more than 1.5 million, this is the number of plants which are documented, known, plants and animals, the total species diversity on Earth that are reported. So Robert May proposed the global species diversity to be around 7 million. This graph is species richness versus area observed by German naturalist Humboldt, and he observed that the species richness, it increases, but then it also plateaus after some time. The same equation, it is represented in log scale. It gives a straight line. Okay, you will have to by heart each and everything. S represents species diversity. C is the y-intercept. A is area. And Z is the slope, which in turn gives the regression coefficient. Now, Rivet-Popper hypothesis was an effort by Paul Ehrlich to make you understand the importance of each and every species for the integrity of ecosystem. So he gave an analogy of comparing the ecosystem with aeroplane and each and every species with rivets. Now rivets are the nuts and bolts. They help in the integrity of the aeroplane. So if we keep on removing the rivets, eventually we will compromise the integrity of aeroplane. The same is applicable for ecosystem. We don't know which species is crucial for the integrity of entire ecosystem. And there is a possibility that extinction of one species can bring down the whole ecosystem and cause extinction of entire species on Earth. And finally, Tillman's experiment on outdoor plots was, the higher the biodiversity in a given plot, the greater will be productivity. So in farming, we have seen that we tend to grow only wheat on the land or only rice. But his observation was, if we have diversity in the field, it will in turn contribute to higher productivity. So these are the last two questions of 2024. In an ecosystem, if the net primary productivity of the first trophic level is 100x, what would be the GPP of the third trophic level of the same ecosystem? So NPP of first trophic level is 100x. This is first trophic level and NPP is given, which is 100x. Next, what would be the GPP of the third trophic level, second and third? So see, you need to understand this, that the GPP minus R gives you NPP, okay? And this NPP is available as GPP for the second trophic level. So again, there will be respiratory losses, and this N value will be 10 times less, that will be 10x. And 10x will become the GPP of third trophic level. So the answer is 10x. The GPP of the third trophic level is 10x. Option 3 is the answer. Next question. Gauss's competitive exclusion principle states that two closely related species competing for different resources. See, if they are closely related, they will compete for the same resources. And because they are competing for same resources, they cannot exist indefinitely. So this word has made the whole statement incorrect. So statement 1 is incorrect. According to Gauss's principle, during competition, the inferior will be eliminated. This may be true if resources are limiting. Yes, this is true. So statement 2 is correct and 1 is incorrect. So the answer will be statement 1 is false and 2 is true. Option 4. First question. The regions with high levels of species richness, high degree of endemism, and loss of 70% of the species and habitat are identified as biodiversity hotspots. Option 3 is the answer. So what you have to remember is this whole statement. Okay, every word is keyword related to biodiversity hotspot. In addition, there are few numbers. Initially, 25 biodiversity hotspots were identified throughout the world, and now the number has increased by 9. So we have total 34 biodiversity hotspots in the world. They are also the regions with accelerated habitat loss. Out of 34, 3 are in India, Western Ghats and Sri Lanka, Indo-Burma and Himalaya. The beauty of biodiversity hotspot is they cover only 2% of Earth's land area, but they contribute to very high species diversity. Which one of the following is not included under in situ conservation? Wildlife sanctuary is in situ. Botanical garden is not in situ, it is ex situ. So we have the answer. Option 2 is the answer. Next one, cryopreservation technique is used for protection of environment, protection of biodiversity hotspots, preservation of gametes in viable and fertile condition for a long period. Yes, this is the answer. Option 3. So cryo means freezing. So when we freeze something, we are kind of doing an arrest, cellular arrest. And this is how we preserve the gametes in viable and fertile condition. Both are important. Consider the pyramid of energy of an ecosystem given below. If T4, this is T4, is equivalent to 1000 joules, what is the value of T1? To attempt this question, you will have to apply 10% energy rule. So the rule says when you go from the first trophic level to fourth trophic level, there is 10% decrease in energy at each level. So the reverse will be applicable. There will be 10% increase at each level. So increase 1000 by a factor of 10 3 times. 1000 into 1000 will be this value, option 4. Which one of the following is not a limitation of ecological pyramids? Saprophytes are not given any place in ecological pyramids. Yes, this is a limitation. It assumes a simple food chain that almost never exists in nature. Yes, it assumes, and therefore it is a limitation. We have to look for not a limitation. It accommodates a food web. The statement is incorrect. It doesn't accommodate food web because it assumes a simple food chain. So this statement is incorrect and therefore it cannot be the limitation. So we have the answer. So all these 3 points are limitations of ecological pyramids. This is the NCERT reference. Ecological pyramids are simplification that overlooks the complex interaction and interconnectedness of different species. It excludes decomposers and it does not account for same species existing at multiple trophic levels. So these 3 points are clearly given in NCERT as limitations of ecological pyramids. When will the population density increase under special condition? When the number of death exceed number of birth. This is so wrong. Option 1 is wrong. Birth plus number of immigrants equal the number of death and number of immigrants. It will be equal, so it cannot increase. This is wrong. Birth plus number of immigrants is more than number of death plus number of immigrants. Again, incorrect. Birth plus number of immigrants is more than sum of number of deaths and number of immigrants. Yes, this is the answer. So population density represented by N, it will be V plus I, birth plus immigration minus death plus immigration. Okay, so this has to be high, then only the population will increase. If this is high, population density will decrease. Next one, biodiversity hotspot. This will be Western Ghats, A4. A4 is only in option number 1. Sacred groves is Khasi and Jaintia Hills in Meghalaya, correct. Johannesburg, South Africa, this was 2002 meeting. It was World Summit on Sustainable Development. Alien species invasion is Parthenium, carrot grass. It came as a contaminant with imported wheat. Match question, predator. Predator is Pisaster. This is starfish and it will eat up snails. A2. A2 is in 3 and 4. B is common. Mutualism is wasp and fig. Then C will be either 1 or 4. C is parasitism. Parasitism will be Plasmodium. C4. So option 4 is the right answer. See, this is the snail, this is the starfish. Pisaster on the hunt. You can check this video on YouTube. Then this is another video on YouTube. Sneaky orchid tricks a wasp. So because this orchid, it mimics female wasp, so it tricks the male wasp into copulating it. It's called pseudocopulation. So in the act of copulation, the pollen grains are dusted on this male wasp. And this is how the orchid plant is benefited in pollination via wasp, by fooling wasp. Match question. Migratory flamingos and resident fish in South American lakes, they are different species but they compete for the zooplankton. So this is called interspecific competition. Where is it? It is over here. A4. A4 is only in option number 2. We have the answer. So let's look into each and every concept asked in this question. First one, Flamingo and fishes, they compete for a common food, which is zooplankton. So since they belong to different species and still they are competing, this kind of competition is called interspecific competition. The location is in shallow South American lakes. Next example is interference competition. Here, the goat that have high grazing efficiency, they have caused the extinction of Abington tortoise. Reason is the feeding efficiency is high and therefore their R value is also high. Intrinsic rate of natural increase. So they outnumbered Abington tortoise, led to extinction of these tortoise. Now this observation cannot be generalized because this was observed in very small island, Galapagos Island, by Darwin. So this is the limiting factor, and therefore anything which will have higher efficiency in feeding will outnumber the other ones which are slower. Next is competitive release. Here the scientist's name is Connell, and he observed that competitively superior balaenus, they outnumber the inferior ones, Cathameles, and the area is rocky sea coast of Scotland. Finally, resource partitioning, the example which should come in your mind is warbler. These are songbirds. So 5 different species, they have learned to coexist and adopt different feeding pattern, okay, to avoid competition. So this behavior is called resource partitioning. The scientist who observed this was MacArthur. So this is the end of NTA OG series on ecology.